Hey, what's up, everyone? I thought I'd take a second to give my own opinion on 10 tips for beginner boxers. And this is coming from a beginner. So I know some people watch my channel, and of course, people got critiques to throw out there. That's all good. You'll notice I don't really post anything that says this is how you should do something. I just kind of post me doing my thing, which I know is not perfect yet by any means. So this is just someone who's still basically a beginner, maybe slightly getting into that intermediate level. I am now in the advanced intermediate boxing class, but I still do feel somewhat like a beginner overall, of course. I've only been doing this, taking classes for about 10 months. For a lot of that time, it was one class a week. And then for the last 4 months, it's been 2 to 3 a week now that I'm in the advanced class. So anyways, these are things that, just I wish someone would have told me day one, all right? So it's going to cover a lot of stuff. It's just my opinion. You don't got to agree, whatever. It's all good. Hopefully this helps out someone who is about to start boxing. All right, so without further ado, right out of the bat, we're going to give a bonus tip. This isn't one of the 10. That is, join a boxing gym. And that's, of course, goes to if you actually want to step in a ring one day. If all you want to do is hit a bag for the exercise or boxercise or whatever, that kind of thing, then sure, you don't need to do that. You can just put a bag in your basement or your garage and start swinging away. So bonus tip, though, if you do want to box eventually, join a gym. I know it could be hard if you're in a rural area. Maybe it's far away. Even if you got to drive like an hour and a half, maybe just go once a week. But getting that actual instruction and working with other boxers is priceless for sure. It's way better than just doing your own thing, watching some instructional videos. Join a gym. All right, that was the bonus tip. That's out of the way. In kind of no particular order, although this is somewhat skewed towards the most important tips coming at the end. Here we go. So tip 1, and this applies to me a lot. Your muscles don't matter. I was a gym dude, focusing on like powerlifting, weightlifting, things like that for a long time. I got a good bench. I got a good squat. My deadlift is decent. I had lower back injuries a lot of my life. My overhead press is big. Barbell row, all those types of strength lifts, I'm pretty good at. It does not translate to boxing. And anything, it makes you slower, and it makes you have to box bigger, heavier dudes. So it's like my face is the same as a dude that weighs 150, but I'm always in there now working with mainly dudes that are like at least 170. And tomorrow I'm going to spar a dude that I think is about 240. I right now wake up in the morning right at about 188. All right. So tip 1, I guess your muscles don't matter. So, take that for what it's worth, but like, I don't know, if you already got the muscles, it really just means you're going to be slower, in my opinion, and you're going to have to fight bigger dudes that punch harder. So, number 1, muscles, not really a big factor. It's your boxing skill that matters the most. And tip 2, which is cardio is huge and stamina is huge. So, you got to have the wind. You got to be able to just have the endurance to last through the workout, the round, etc. A 3-minute round can feel like forever when you're starting to get gassed out. And then your 30-second break feels like 1 second. So endurance is huge. I started to drop my lifting. I've barely lifted weights at all since I got into the advanced boxing classes especially. And anytime I would have lifted weights, I go on a run, I jump rope, I do some type of training that is more cardiovascular geared, not just like, sets of 5x5 on the squat or something like that. Tip 3. Where's my tip 3? Oh, pretend the bag hits you back. All right, so the very first thing I did before I joined a boxing gym was put a heavy bag in my basement and one of them reflex bags and the speed bag behind me, right? And those are still great. I love them when I don't want to go to the gym or I don't want to drive to the boxing gym. I can still come down here and practice and get some work in. But from the very first moment, I wish I would have acted like the bag would hit me back. You don't want to build bad habits by just standing in front of it, not moving, or pretend there's always a punch coming back. On the bag, you're probably going to do like a jab cross and come right back to here. Instead, do jab cross, slip, jab, cross, block, right? So just always pretend the bag's going to hit you back. That's tip 3. Tip 4, pick one thing to work on at a time. So what I mean by this is, I would get out of a boxing class and maybe someone is giving me a tip like, hey, every time you jab, you do what they call what's it called? Like the bow and arrow thing. So maybe for the next week or the next couple days, I would just focus on gluing my hand here and not doing the bow and arrow thing. I got to work on a million things, right? My footwork, my head movement, this, that, the other. But if you try to work on all of them at once, it's just too much to do. So tip 4, pick one thing that you need to improve and drill that one for, a day, 2 days, a week, whatever. And then you find something else you suck at, start working on that the next week. Rotate it, just don't try to fix everything at once. That's tip 4. Tip 5. Your hands aren't really up. What do I mean by that? So I would think my hands were up. I'd be drilling with someone or sparring in the class, and I'd have my hands here. They look like they're up, right? Not really. I could still get hit in the chin. I could still get hit in the nose. They weren't really up enough. So just from here, we got to go to here. It's small adjustment, but that's tip 5. Your hands are not really up, make sure they are. Because, my hands weren't down at my waist. I wasn't trying to do some the Floyd Mayweather style. I forgot the name of it. I know it so well, but I can't think of it at the moment. My hands, I thought they were up. They were high-ish, but they just weren't high enough to block a punch. So that was tip 5, right? Yeah, tip 5. Your hands aren't really up. Make sure they're actually up enough to block a face shot. Tip 6. Once you get to the point that you're sparring or you're drilling in class, keep your mouth shut when you're in range. I ate a couple, and it was in the same week. It was a Tuesday class and then a Thursday class. Well, the Tuesday class, I ate a hook to the face, to the jaw, with my mouth open. It was supposed to be body shot only, but occasionally, we all miss whatever. I don't know, maybe the dude didn't like me. No, I'm just kidding. And I got hooked in the face by a dude that's probably about 220, because again, I'm 188 and I got some muscle mass, so I'm always in there with bigger dudes. And dude, it sucked, man. That was the Tuesday one. Thursday, I go back with it already hurting, and this was face shots allowed. Same mistake. I was out of breath later into the round, later into the class, and I got into range without my teeth shut, and I ate another hook. And it's weird because when I ate the hook, the side that got hit didn't actually hurt. It was the other side. And it was like, to the point where if I tried to eat like a big, triple stack cheeseburger, my mouth just wouldn't open enough to do it. It hurt for a good week or something like that. So tip 6, keep your mouth shut when you're in range. It's hard to just breathe through your nose the whole time. So if you need to kind of catch your breath a little bit, get out of range, open your mouth, breathe through your mouth a couple times. And then before you get back in range, get a little bit of a clench going. All right, that was 6. Tip 7. This is a huge one. They're getting better as we go. Record yourself. Record yourself on the bag. Record yourself shadow boxing. And watch it back, because you'll feel, even your body will feel like you're doing something right. Then you go and you rewatch the tape and you're like, oh my God, that was horrible. One thing I was thinking I was doing right on a 1, 2, 3, I would go 1, 2, 3, or at least that's what I thought I was doing. Really, it was 1, and then my left hand kind of went down, 2, 3. My hand never really was getting back to my chin after the 1. I watched that on the tape and I was like, okay, I'm bypassing that step. And that goes for anything, right? It goes for your footwork. It goes for your head movement. It goes for rotating your hips, keeping your chin down, right? The 10 million things you're supposed to remember when you're in the middle of these rounds. All of them you might feel like or think you're doing correct. Record yourself, watch it. You'll be able to pick yourself apart and realize you're doing a bunch of stuff wrong. That was tip 7. Tip 8. Partner drills are the best. So that is the thing that helped me the absolute most. Even before, even when it was in the beginner class and we didn't have headgear and mouth guards, we weren't actually punching each other in the face. We were doing body shots, but we weren't punching each other in the face. The partner drills were the absolute best thing to do. Some of them are choreographed where you know what punch you're going to throw. Your partner knows what defense they're going to do, vice versa. Even though they're choreographed and you know what's coming, that is way more beneficial than just hitting a bag by yourself. So tip 8, partner drills are the best. Do a bunch of partner drills. Even if you are in a rural setting, see if you got a neighbor that'll just do some drills with you, whatever. I mean, they don't have to be interested in boxing necessarily to throw on some gloves and throw some punches at you, especially if you're like, look, I won't even punch back. I just want to practice my defense. A lot of people are probably willing to punch you, trust me. I found that out too. All right, that was tip 8. Tip 9, spend equal time on defense as you do offense. When I first started with the bag in my basement, there was like no defense involved, whatever, which is fine. I was learning, the basic punches or whatever. But half of the fight is going to be defense too. So train that way. Spend half your time working on your slips, your rolls. I know my rolls are bad, man. I posted one video where I was rolling and people were eating them alive. And I mean, I agree with a lot of the tips too. Yeah, like maybe my head was down, my eyes went down. I wasn't using my legs enough. So I appreciate the constructive criticism. The dudes that just throw shade on it, whatever. You probably suck at boxing. I ain't worried about you. I do appreciate the constructive tips though, and I definitely know that I need work. But yeah, so practice defense as much as you practice your offense. It is that much of the fight, if not even more, right? So that was tip 9, I think. Yep. Spend equal time on defense as you do offense. Tip 10, what I think is probably the best tip out of all this is to shadow box, and then shadow box some more. That definitely helped me a lot. It's not as fun. I know, trust me, I know. You want to hit the bag. You want to hear it pop. You want the chains to rattle. You want to make contact with something. I get it. But shadow boxing really does help a lot. It's like you're imagining, but you got to do it right. You got to imagine you're getting punched back. You have to imagine that you can't just stand in one spot, so it looks weird. It feels weird when you first start doing it. You kind of feel dumb, you're like, oh, what am I doing? I'm blocking a punch that isn't getting thrown and this and that and the other. But shadow boxing was huge. It helps you with a lot of different things, including like not overextending your punches or over punching through things. Like, 'cause if you're hitting a bag, right, you could throw your hook way too far. Your hook should stop at your opponent's face. Shadow boxing helps with stuff like that. It helps you not extend your reach or get your body out over your feet and your base. So I think, yeah, if you could just shadow box, even as much as like a round a day or 2 rounds a day, that 3 to 6 minutes will make a big difference. It helped me a lot for sure. So those were my 10 tips. As someone who still is basically a beginner, again, I've been taking classes for 10 months in total. I am now in an advanced class. I do partner drills and sparring twice a week. But absolutely, I know I got a ton of things to learn. So this isn't coming from like some expert or some Golden Glove champion. This is coming from a dude who's basically a beginner himself. But I do wish if someone would have given me these 10 tips day one, they would have helped me. So I figured I would throw this video out there from my perspective on things to help out you boxers that are just getting started. All right, everyone have a good one. Thanks.